Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Retro Wrestling Review Power Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you from the Retro Wrestling Archive in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama, along with producer Smokey behind the scenes making this all happen. And right now, join me in welcoming my co-host. First up, he's the host of Beyond Wrestling here at Jackson Media Creations. He's also my co-host on the Continental Wrestling Review podcast. It's Rob Helt. Helt.
Hello, Gene. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. We had our first episode last week, and man, it's been well received. There's been a ton of people that have watched it. A bunch of people have reached out. And how are you?
Man, I'm doing well. I felt like the show felt good to me. I enjoyed it. Sometimes you come off a show, you got a few, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I could have said that differently. I think it was good. You and BT, as always, carrying me through a podcast, but it was good. It was a good show, and I've gotten good feedback.
Well, speaking of the man, let's get him on here right now. Our other co-host, he's the owner, founder, and president of STSpod.club, and he is currently Jonesboro, Arkansas's baby boy. There it is. I got it right this time. There he is. Brian Tramel, BT. What's up?
Good morning, fellows. How are you? Wait, kayfabe. We can still say morning, can't we?
People know when we record a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I even posted on Facebook we were recording this morning. Excited about the feedback. I've had people reach out to me. In the first 24 hours, you know, it had that question, those questions that you're going to be asked no matter what. How does somebody feel about what you're doing? But overall, I mean, just total positivity and the numbers. I think we kind of, we got not lucky, but we planned to do this because this was the anniversary weekend. Last weekend was the anniversary weekend, but also the last weekend was WrestleMania weekend. So people are online. They're watching wrestling stuff. My numbers are usually really good on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of WrestleMania weekend when it comes to downloads and listens. So thank you to everybody that reached out to me, and thank you for everybody that watched it. Well, I do really, sincerely, I appreciate it.
So I know, Rob, I know somebody, you reached out to somebody who was able to give a little bit of information about a question we had during the show. If you don't mind, share that with us here at the top.
Yeah, sure. I just reached out to Randy Hales. I mean, I'll tell you straight up. And I said, hey, because I heard you guys last week as we were talking, we didn't know who, you guys knew Aubrey Wayne being the referee, but you didn't know who the other referee was. So I reached out to Randy and I said, who were the refs on the first show? And he said, I'll have to verify, but I think it was Joe Wheeler from Louisville and Aubrey Wayne. So Joe Wheeler from Louisville would have been the answer to last week's who was the other referee. And that is with Randy said he'd have to verify, but I'm pretty sure I trust what he put right there.
I think that makes sense too, because you had some guys from Louisville coming in to wrestle for that first show. So yeah, awesome.
Gene, you also got some. Thank you. Yeah, no problem, BT. Gene, you also got some insight.
Yeah, I had asked Mike Jackson about that, who that referee was, and he had said Mike Wheeler.
No,
Mike Jackson. But no, I actually I heard from Blade Boudreaux, who was part of the big Young Guns division tag team match that we were all pretty enthused about, and he reached out to let me know that Lance Jade and Bobby Bronze were both from Arizona. They had started training at Warrior University Wrestling School.
Oh, wow.
In Arizona, and then they came and finished up training with Don Bass over in Greasy Corner, Arkansas.
Jesus, what a trip there! How the hell? I'd like to, that would be something to talk to somebody about. That's crazy. How'd you get there?
So big thank you to Blade Boudreaux for offering up that information. I told him, I said, look, man, as we go along through this series, anytime you can give us some insight or know somebody who can, please let us know. I said, because most of this is our opinion and how we feel watching it all these years later, but we also want to be able to convey useful information and help people learn some of the behind the scenes stuff, what we can find out. So big thanks to Randy and Blade Boudreaux.
Shout out to Blade. I love me some Blade Boudreaux. So,
oh, great guy, man. I worked so many shows with him over the years, and just he's the best. And I've been hounding him for a long time. Like, when we're going to do an interview, we never have them to get together, but we're going to make it happen one of these days. And I went back and reread the first couple of Power Pro chapters of Randy's book, and Lawler was a babyface the whole time. At least that was the intention. So I guess it was kind of, I don't remember which one y'all pointed out. It was just kind of, that's his WWF persona these days, and that's just who he is on camera. So that's what we got. But no, he didn't to be a babyface.
That was BT. BT, you're giving a look right now, BT. Are you not buying that, or is it, or
let's get into this show, and then I'll tell you why he's a heel. So there. All right.
Go. Okay. Cool. Good. Fair enough.
I mean, I don't feel like he's a babyface. I really don't, and I really don't after this. I don't, and it may be exactly what Gene said, and I had mentioned that. It's just that he's continuing that persona, and that's going to be Jerry Lawler on Power Pro. All right, I'm ready if you guys are. Go ahead.
Take us in there.
All right, here we go. We are heading back to April 25th, 1998, episode 2 of Power Pro Wrestling. And, of course, Dave Brown and Corey Michael in there going to be hosting the show. They go back and recap what happened last time. Spellbinder, the first ever winner of a match on Power Pro Wrestling. Austin Idol, of course, attacked Dundee with a chair shot during his match in the main event with Jared King Lawler. Today's main event is going to be Brian Christopher in there taking on Billy Joe Travis, the Sweet Music Man, as they were referring to him by these days. Jerry Lawler's going to be here, and we'll have another Young Guns match this week. Again, the first match is going to be Superstar Bill Dundee taking on Tony Falk, the Memphis legend Tony Falk. Any comments on either one of these guys before we take a look at a quick clip?
Paducah, Kentucky's baby boy right there, Tony Falk. Love me some Tony Falk.
He can work. I mean, he can work.
A lot of baby boys with us this morning. I would be.
I'm a man. I'm a full-grown man. Okay.
I have to point out one thing they did correct on this week's show as we got started.
McLean.
It's Corey Macklin.
There he is.
And Corey Macklin, correctly spelled. So we're off and running here this week on Power Pro. And let's see a little bit of the Superstar taking on the former Cowboy Tony, Tony Falk.
Warm up jacket up. Tony Falk has this folded on the, what is this? My goodness. What in the world? Walking out here with a freshly shaved head.
Microphone Dave Brown and Corey Macklin.
It's Brandon Baxter
has arrived in Memphis, Tennessee.
Brandon Baxter. Talk about a bad dream, Dave.
Give me this microphone, Corey. I'm here for one reason. I'm here to party. I'm here to celebrate. All I've heard is talking about Power Pro Wrestling, Power Pro Wrestling, Power Pro Wrestling. Why wasn't I invited, Dave Brown? I must have missed the phone call, the email, the fax, or whatever. Randy Helt should have invited me. When he talks about Young Guns and the future of wrestling, who is the future of wrestling? The female fantasy Brandon Baxter. That's right, Dave. Well, that's right, Corey.
We had a very full premiere show last week for Power Pro Wrestling to get things underway.
Who's for Brandon Baxter? I don't think so. These people are here to see me.
These people are here to see wrestling, and that's what they're seeing right now. No doubt about it. Step up. Tony Falk. Dundee. Oh, they had Dundee reversed him there, Dave. Yeah, he blocked it and then reversed on Tony Falk. Reversal here. Dundee whipped in. He comes off with that blind push. 1, 2, and 3. Dundee gets the win over Tony Falk.
What a maneuver. This is a little stupid things that my mind picks up on. I can remember back seeing Dundee wear those trunks back in the day, and it always bothered me that the star on the back was upside down. Am I the only person that's weird like that?
No,
I didn't notice that. So yeah,
I don't like long-haired Dundee, and it just doesn't look like Dundee.
Yeah, that is a little uncomfortable.
Mullet Dundee.
Yeah, the Superstar is just not suited for a mullet. But so we got a pretty fun opening match there. Brandon Baxter makes his first appearance in the Power Pro universe.
The female fantasy.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember going, me and some buddies going to a show at Liberty Land that Power Pro put on, and Brandon Baxter came out and he cut his promo about, I'm the female fantasy Brandon Baxter, da 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 da. Lawler comes out, and the first thing Lawler says, he goes, "Hey, do you realize what you're saying there, Baxter?" He said, the proper term, if meant it the way I think you're trying to say it, is the female's fantasy, implying that the females fantasize about you. But the way you say it, and it's probably more appropriate, female fantasy would imply that you're a female that is somebody's fantasy. And Baxter turned all red, and you could tell that was the first time that notion had ever occurred to him. But he kept saying it going forward. He never did correct it. But I thought that was pretty funny because you could tell Lawler derailed everything they had going just to point that out to him in that moment. That's the kind of stuff Lawler will do to people, So, Baxter's upset. He wasn't invited to Power Pro last week. He says, he should be the centerpiece of the young guns. He's the future of wrestling, and has a little word or two with Bill Dundee. What do you guys remember about Brandon Baxter? Because I can tell you, I'll let you guys go first so I don't spoil it. But I remember what my very first memory of Brandon Baxter is. What are yours?
We all sat in the same section at the Sportatorium. We were kids. He's a little older than me, not by much. And we all sat at the Sportatorium as kids. So, I mean, if I ran into Brandon today, it would be like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" That kind of thing. "How are you doing?" I mean, I've got a nose that's unmistakable, and it normally arrives 5 minutes before I do anywhere else. So, at least that's what Jamie Dundee told me. But I liked him, but this is the first time I ever saw him bald. The first time I would have seen him bald would have been right here, because he had hair before this. He had that long blonde hair. So, that's my thing on Brandon. I like Brandon Baxter. I always will, just because I sat next to him at the Sportatorium before he went into Global.
Huge Brandon Baxter fan, and I remember him being a kid, the long blonde hair, doing the. Y'all gonna have to tell me which was that World Class that he did the report.
It was Global.
Global. Yeah.
It was called Teen Beat with Brandon Baxter.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was it. And met him and Derek for the first time one night at the New Daisy. And they were just super nice to me, made sure everything was cool with me. And Brandon has, I can text Brandon and ask him questions, and sometimes he gets right back. Sometimes it's 3 months later. But I really like Brandon. He come here, become a celebrity in Jonesboro, Arkansas, has made a huge living for himself and his family. Big fan. Always thought he got, he fell into cracks, not being able, they weren't hiring managers at the time, WWE, but I think he could have been a much bigger star. But I love him here in Power Pro.
I remember being in my dorm room in college watching 1995 USWA, I think it was at the time. And out comes this manager, and he's got on white slacks and a white blazer with no shirt on.
No shirt.
And dude's got abs, and he's got this long, stringy blonde hair. And I'm like, who is this dude? This is heat. This is walking heat. And they go, Brandon Baxter. And I was like, the Teen Beat kid?
Teen Beat guy?
That's a Teen Beat kid? He's a manager now. Holy shit.
Right.
But yeah, I was always impressed with him. He's great on the microphone. And he will be an intricate part of Power Pro, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, alongside Randy Hales as we move along here. Speaking of moving along here, as we start to move forward, Samantha makes her way out. Watching this segment here gave me vibes of back when I was a manager at Walgreens 20 years ago, and I would get called to the front, and there would be an angry lady whose coupon was not ringing up, and she was absolutely belligerent about it, and by God, I was going to hear about it. That's the vibe I got from this Samantha promo. What did you guys take away from this?
She could have starred on Mama's Family.
Right.
Hey man, I like what you said. I'm a huge I'm a huge Samantha fan, so I did enjoy the promo. But yeah, that I could see that. I could see the Karen of that day right there. So
I was waiting for one of y'all to drop that. That is what nowadays is called a Karen. Exactly.
Yep.
Is that Bill Dundee's wife at one point, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
Trying to think of what time period. That's later.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm wondering if it was happening right now or a little bit later.
Yeah, but it's definitely a
thing. But I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah. So then let's see. We go to our second match. It's going to be a rematch from last week. Paul Diamond once again taking on the Spellbinder, and these guys, like, I like both of these guys, but I don't know. We kind of saw it last week, and I kind of felt like this week. You guys can correct me if you feel differently, but something about this match, these guys just don't exactly click. Like, it's not bad, but it's not, the timing's a little off, and you see some things kind of go awry here and there.
If you go back last week after the match, you said, what did I think? And I said they were both lumbering. I felt like they were even nervous. Remember, I was trying to chalk it up to nerves. And I got to tell you guys, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't like Paul Diamond. I've never liked him. I haven't liked him since 85, 86 area when he was, he went through the whole drug thing and the rehab thing and he's from Thunder Bay, Ontario. And I just don't like him. I didn't like him with Bad Company. He's just not good, and he's not a good worker. And he definitely doesn't work good here with Spellbinder. I feel like he's making Spellbinder look bad at this point.
I'm the opposite. I'm a huge Paul Diamond fan, especially with Bad Company. I think it's one of those things, like you said, Gene, and I know Doug Gilbert gives a perfect example. Him and Eddie never had good matches with Bill Dundee. Nothing wrong with Bill Dundee. Nothing wrong with Doug or Eddie. Sometimes you just don't match with the person in your ring with. I thought the match, they had a nasty military press out of it. Crowd was freaking loud again this week. They either have that mic perfect or something, or they're loud. I'm assuming they're loud. You're not going to show clips or anything, but we did get a good guitar shot there at the end that I like. So good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get a clip of it, but yeah, that's the finish. And I feel like they probably felt like we did about last week's match, and so I think there was maybe some nerves or like this feeling of, hey, we got to make up for this, and it kind of made this match worse than the previous one. But yeah, Billy Joe comes in, and oh my God,
good one.
Gets his brains knocked out with his freaking guitar. And Paul Diamond picks up the win here, which makes me go, oh my gosh, please tell me they're going to pivot Spellbinder to Billy Joe, and this doesn't mean we're getting match number 3 in this period.
Right
here. So,
I hate to be the spoiler, but that's the best of 7, y'all. We're doing the best of 7. No, I don't know. I'm kidding.
I got to say something right here because it wouldn't let me post the GIF. Last week on last Sunday, you posted, please, I'm going to stay off social media all day. Please, no one spoil WrestleMania for me because I haven't seen it yet. And I wanted to share the GIF from Clerks 2 where Randall Graves goes, I'm not even going to point out the irony here.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway.
It was, my former co-host didn't understand how you could actually stay off of social media or post to social media without actually looking at social media. It's a trick, y'all. I'm magic. I'm absolutely magic. So there you go.
I told
fucking BT Copperfield over here.
Yeah.
I told a lie. I do have a quick clip of that guitar shot, and it's worth seeing. Let's check this out.
Let's do it.
I thought he may have had him there. Oh, the referee got knocked out. Oh, no. Referee Aubrey Wayne is out. Spellbinder had him in the air going for the body slam. Pinned him around, Dave. And look out. Oh, look out. Oh, look out. And Billy Joe covers with that good talk. Oh, he smashed him, Dave. 1, 2. Oh, yeah.
So it's always been fun for me to hear Corey Macklin say guitar.
Guitar.
But holy cow, Billy Joe really, and that doesn't look like one of them balsa wood jobs that Jeff Jarrett was using in WCW. Like, I'm sure it's gimmicked to some degree, but it sounded a lot more solid than them ones that Jeff was using in WCW times. So,
Yep.
Poor Spellbinder. Anyway, after that, we go to a video package here of Kid Wicked. Now, this guy, he was Tony Williams. He started out as Brian Christopher's partner. They were the new kids back in the day, and we talked about a lot in 1993 on the USWA show, like the look and the build and the abilities of Tony Williams. If he had been a taller guy, he probably would have been right there getting the same kind of push Brian was, but he kind of fell into that enhancement role. But here, apparently, we're clear that Randy has other plans. Let's check out this video on Tony Williams, a.k.a. Kid Wicked.
Tony Williams no more. Now it's Kid Wicked to look.
I like that. Yeah, I'm down here at Club 616 mixing it up with my good friend David the Worm. When my schedule allows it, I like to roll on down to the club and listen to some of the best dance music Memphis has to offer. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is Tony Williams. Now, Tony Williams in the past was a jabroni. Let's face it, folks. Tony Williams was nothing more than a job boy. Well, that is going to come to a screeching halt today, right here, right now. From this point on, I will be referred to as Kid Wicked, and I will answer to nothing other than Kid Wicked. I've been watching wrestling, and I went to all the studios and the stadiums, and I got the kayfabe sheets, and I dreamed of becoming a professional wrestler. And I became a professional wrestler. And I didn't give a that I wasn't going to be 7 feet tall. Or I didn't give a that I wasn't going to be 300 pounds. But once I became a professional wrestler, I was introduced to something that I'm not too fond of. And that's called politics. The reason why Tony Williams was a job boy is because every promoter that he ever worked for buried his in the opening matches and didn't give him the push and didn't give him the chance that he deserved. Now, talking about last week's show, and by the way, if you saw the show and you saw the Young Guns match, you know that I stole the show. But after the match was over and I was in the back getting dressed and I looked up at the monitor, I could have sworn that somebody had changed the station because I thought I was watching Jurassic Park, the trilogy. I saw all these old men in tights wrestling around. Randy Hales, get over it. This is a new day, and this is a new age, and wrestling has evolved. And you need to get with the program. The future of Memphis Power Pro Wrestling is Kid Wicked. People don't tune in to WWF to see Terry Funk. They tune in to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. People don't tune in to WCW to see Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair. They tune in to see Goldberg. And I can guarantee you that people are going to tune in to Memphis Power Pro Wrestling to watch Kid Wicked and watch him get wicked each and every week. And if you don't believe me, you just tune in each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on WMC TV5 and you watch me get wicked.
So, Tony, you think they actually bought this Kid Wicked bit?
What are you trying to say, Dave?
Well, I mean, I still know you're Tony Williams. What's this Kid Wicked stuff?
Hold on just a minute. Is that camera still rolling? Get the camera over here. I mentioned David the Worm, but I didn't really formally introduce him as what he does. What exactly do you do here, David?
I play records at Club 616.
So, in essence, you like to play with records?
Yeah, I play records. Hit records.
Hit records?
Yeah, like...
You got any?
Yeah, like this one. Daft Punk, Around the World. That's a big hit record.
Daft Punk, Around the World. I like that song. That was a big hit, wasn't it?
Oh, real big hit.
You know what? It's even a bigger hit now. I told you, friend or foe, I'm going to get wicked starting right here and right now.
Okay. So
A lot to unpack.
That's what was going on in my mind there, Rob. So yeah.
It didn't bother me back then because that was the way of the world in like 97, 98, the world of wrestling anyway. But going back watching it now, it is so cringy to me to hear this insider talk, and I don't know. Like I said, everybody was doing it, and it was kind of becoming the thing. But my God, the promos like that, when like job boy and say some of the terms
Dirt
you hear
sheet and all that. Yeah. Cringy.
and then he's shitting on the older guys, which
Yeah.
we've talked about on a lot of shows. Doug and Tommy talked about it recently about why that's not a great idea, and you think that would kind of be common sense. But I don't know. What did you guys think of this whole premise of this promo here?
So you're blatantly trying to copy that ECW camera movement thing. So that's obvious. I don't want to steal any of BT's thunder, so I'm going to take two here, and that is one, the ECW stuff that's blatantly an ECW ripoff and a cheap one at that. Secondly, you've insulted my intelligence now, because a vinyl record is not going to fucking do any kind of damage to anybody anywhere. I don't think you can hit somebody hard enough with a vinyl record to cause, let alone a concussion or anything else. And it's damn sure not going to take me off my feet. So that was a little bit, that would have been hokey to me at 13, 14. That would have been hokey to me as a vinyl record.
Not even David the Worm?
Man, fuck. Passing to you, BT.
Hey, Mike Needham told me that one time about a clipboard too. Y'all need to talk to Mike about that.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't hurt anything. So Kid Wicked, huge fan of his work, huge fan of the gimmick, the look. I'm with Gene on this. It felt really, really hokey with him using the inside terms, dirt sheet, and so forth and so on. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, but Kid Wicked, Tony, whatever, he was part of the deal with Brian and Kevin and Scott. They had their own little wrestling federation on the block when they were kids. And I do know Kevin was a observer reader back in the day. So it's possibilities. A lot of this stuff he said was true. But he did like you said, don't say the old guys. Those are the guys we're pushing as the stars. You will get your TV time, Kid Wicked, but don't put down the people that people are paying money to see kind of thing. So, yeah, I didn't like that part, but I really like the look. I don't like the inside terms, and I probably thought it was cool back then, but I don't. Yeah. It's kind of cringy. So.
And I don't even know really if we can put that on Tony, because clearly he's reading most of this. If you follow his eyes during this promo,
right,
he's reading all this shit. Now, maybe he came up with it and just wrote it down and he just wanted to remember it all, but I got a feeling he might have had some help with that promo as well, as far as the verbiage used here. I'm glad you mentioned Mike Needham. I do want to point out real quick, our friend Mike Needham is in the crowd for these first couple of episodes.
Awesome.
And he actually told me he has a story related to this episode. I wasn't able to get up with him and get that story from him before we shot this episode, but I will reach out to Mike and get that from him, or bring him on here and let him tell it. So
awesome.
There you go, Mike. I hadn't forgot that you were out there in the studio amongst Blaylock and everyone else who was there throwing confetti and balloons around.
Which Blaylock's business supplied. They even thanked him at the end of last week's episode.
Hey, wait, his business supplied what?
The confetti and
balloons. The confetti and balloons. That's right.
Yeah. He has a party store in Tupelo, which landed him on Conan O'Brien and a bunch of different fun things over the years. But we'll let Jimmy put himself over on his own show. So then we roll right into a Young Guns tag team match, and it's Lance Jade and Bobby Bronze that we saw last week taking on Kid Wicked and Derek King. And I don't know, we enjoyed last week's match so much. I wanted to show some highlights of this one before we get into it, and we'll pick up right after this.
Personality, Derek King. Oh, boy, that it is. Now, you talk about ridiculous. Yeah. Has a very personality. Has a very difficult time figuring out which personality he is on any given day, I understand. That shows you some of the agility, not only of Lance Jade, his partner Bobby Bronze, but also Derek King, Mr. Personality. Now, Baxter has no business at all up there on the ring apron. This flat-foot interference. Tag made. Here's Bobby Bronze. Braun tagged in now, and the team of Jade and Braun. Nice move on Derek King.
That's a great tag team. I like this Young Guns division. A lot of people talking about it.
Exciting, Dave. Very exciting.
Fast action. That's what you're going to see.
Look at this. Kid Wicked comes in. They can talk about fast. Baxter standing over here. Interfering in the match here. But they're standing up there just bothering the team of Lance Jade and Bobby Braun. They can't concentrate on what's going on. We can't even concentrate with Baxter running around here. Mr. Personality, Derek King. Takes Bobby Braun down. Bags him up. Rips him into the rope. He swings after, misses him. Braun goes under again, comes back. Sunset flip. 1, 2.
Thought he had him. Wow. Hey, we're going to have some words from the King, Jerry Lawler, coming up. And don't forget our main event. Don't you go anywhere. We got Brian Christopher going against Billy Joe Travis. Travis has already figured in one match today when he blasted the Spellbinder from behind with a guitar.
Yeah, that was awful, wasn't it?
Brian Christopher will be taking him on 1-against-1 right there in the middle of the ring, coming up in just a few minutes.
Sweet Music Man and the Too Sexy Man to tangle out. Derek King off the top rope. 1, 2. Lance Jade gets in. He's a fresh man right off of the apron. Comes in swinging away. Going after Mr. Personalities and Kid Wicked. Wicked into the rope. He dumps him down. Whips Derek King in there. High in the air and down. Oh, they both go after Kid Wicked. Look at Brendan Baxter. He just handed him a chain.
He sure did. Mr. Personality's little chain. Oh, it comes flying out of the ring, though. It's lying down here on the floor. Brandon Baxter trying to insert himself into this match.
Look at this. Flying off that top. Oh, boy.
Oh, Kid Wicked was across the way. Nobody saw it.
He has got a chain wrapped around his fist. Look at him there, Dave. Trying to stuff it in his tights right there.
Baxter must have gone to a hardware store before he got here today and bought all the chains. He got it.
No, he got it. 1, 2, 3. The team of Kid Wicked, Mr. Personality, Derek King. McKenzie win. Let's take.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So I like how they illustrated at the beginning. We established what's going on here. Brandon gets up on the apron. He tries to talk to Lance and Bobby Braun, and they clearly visually like, no, we're not interested. So now we know what Brandon's doing out here. And I think if you could have took Tony Williams' physique, put it with Derek King's personality, and gave him Lance Jade's height, that would be somebody that's getting ready to go in the WWE Hall of Fame today. Like they all kind of made up for what the other one didn't have. But I'll talk a little bit more here in a moment. I'll let you guys get your thoughts in before I step on anybody's toes.
Lance Jade had a great looking punch. And I love this kind of finish. I really do. I'm hooked on this kind of finish since I was a kid. So I like the way they finished it out. It keeps everybody strong. I liked it. And I'm really liking Derek King. And I told you guys last week, like the Young Guns division, they're still going strong. BT?
Man, Rob, I love you watching all this old stuff for the first time. You're a huge Nightmares fan. I grew up being a huge Nightmares. And you putting over Derek King, it does good for me. He was always one of my favorite and just a really nice, super guy in the business to me. Huge fan of all these guys. I didn't even remember Bobby Braun's, but I liked Lance Cade. I like Wicked. I like DK and Baxter at ringside. And the funny thing, Gene, and you'll probably know what the hell I'm talking about here, but all I could think about is them backstage talking about the finish, and they know the finish. And so Derek says, okay, Lance, you get the hot tag, and boom, boom, boom to the finish. So that's all I could think of was boom, boom, boom to the finish. Yes. And that's exactly what they did. It puts over – here's something it did. Very smart, Randy Hales. You put over the smallest guy over the biggest guy, which makes people think no matter what, anybody can win. So loved it.
Yeah, and so I don't know if everybody caught that, that watched the show, but Brandon ends up giving a chain to each of them, to Derek and to Kid Wicked. Derek swings and misses with his. Lance catches him, gives him that atomic drop. Derek's chain goes flying up into the air out to the floor, but he doesn't know that Kid Wicket is climbing the turnbuckle with a chain of his own. Great finish there. Really, really creative. I had never seen that finish done exactly that way, so that really stood out to me. So, again, freaking Young Guns division are really playing a critical part of this show. And, Tony and Derek, two guys that you can go, man, they were both awesome. But, yeah, the height thing just didn't work for them. I don't really know what stopped Lance and Bobby Brawns. They kind of had everything that, the guys were looking for back in the day as a babyface. Maybe it was just that in this era, the Monday Night Wars, Attitude Era, they were too white meat babyface maybe, and that's maybe what held them back. But it is kind of an interesting study of like what went wrong for those guys, because they've looked awesome so far here.
I've never been referred to as too much white meat babyface ever in my life. I just want y'all to know that. So.
I do want to know we're halfway through the show, and right now our ridiculous count is at 1. Our ridiculous count is at 1.
He's got to step it up here. Corey's slacking today, but he did get a good one. Oh, ridiculous.
I can't believe you're doing that.
I'm doing a ridiculous count.
Yes, we need that for every episode, and perhaps a running total for the series. I don't know.
I'm on it right now. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I see, folks. Listen, we don't talk before these shows, and so they have not been smartened up to this. So I'm just now letting them know that I'm running a ridiculous count.
Rob kayfabes us during the whole.
Yeah, just like I didn't let Brian know until we got to it on the first episode. Like, hey, you're going to be the guy that asked the questions at the end. But, hey, he come right through.
I flow right with it, buddy. I change course no matter what. So,
perhaps Producer Smokey can create like a little counter in the corner of the screen.
Yes.
Ding every time we get a ridiculous. Next up, the King is out here. He's kind of got a running theme in this promo here. He doesn't come out on his throne. Why? Because last week that didn't turn out too well for him, and he's the king, and he keeps going back to that.
Probably broke that old ass office chair. It probably broke when they spilled him out of it.
Yeah, they put it back in the dumpster they found it in before the show, apparently. Right. But we got it. There's some. I cut this down. Now, trust me, if you watch this episode, this is like a freaking 8-9 minute segment of Lawler here. I cut it down to what we really need, because what happens in this portion of the promo, whether we realize it here or not, is going to set the tone for a lot of what goes on in Power Pro for the next period of time. So let's hear the King right now. He's going to call out Randy Hales.
From what he's doing. Well, here he is. Randy Hales, the president of Power Pro Wrestling.
Say one thing. Now, you just got a tight shot of that telephoner. I want to see if you can get a tight shot of Randy's eyes. Can you see it? Let him look in the camera. I promise you, if you took a pin and stuck it in Randy's eyes, he'd bleed to death. Now, that's how bloodshot they are. And you know why they're bloodshot? I know why. Because you've been up all night long, right?
Yeah, I've been up all night long. You're exactly.
And the reason that Randy Hales has been up all night long is because Austin Idol has pulled a little no-show on you. Now, is it true or not? Did I last week come right out here on the show and say to you personally, to Randy Hales, that signing Austin Idol was the stupidest thing that you could do? Did I not say that Austin Idol has no-showed more promoters than George Jones? Did I not say that Austin Idol had little red spots all over his body from promoters touching him with 10-foot poles, right?
You did say that. You did say that.
But Austin Idol, the men's regret, or it's actually the ladies' pet, and the promoter's regret is actually what he is. What happened to him? Where is he?
He's not here today.
I saw commercials all this week. He's supposed to wrestle Bill Dundee here today.
This is not the place to do it. Why didn't you have this conversation with me? I've seen you all morning.
Boss, I want to put you on the spot, Randy.
I went to the airport last night myself to pick him up. His flight was supposed to come in from Pensacola.
Did you go in that big limousine that Austin Idol said you got for him?
I drove my personal car to pick him up. His flight was supposed to come in on Delta from Pensacola at 5:15, and he wasn't there. I stayed an hour. He won't return my phone calls. I don't know what's going to happen. I had to
to redo the format of the TV. I worked all night long. It's unfortunate because...
Hey, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. That's why I'm the king. Forget these idiots like Austin Idol. Forget these idiots like Bill Dundee. Forget this. Deal with the king.
We've got a great program there.
You know why he ain't here, because he's supposed to wrestle me. He was chicken 10 years ago, and he's chicken now.
Oh, wait. You're saying Austin Idol's not here because he's afraid of you?
Yeah, I'm saying that, and you never won that match last week, the last confrontation. Austin Idol did. And you bring this bimbo out here to add whatever it is to what you think. Because nobody else really cares. And it ain't over as far as I'm concerned, because you never won it. Idol did, and he chickened out because he didn't want to wrestle.
I'm the one having the conversation with Lawler.
Right, we had our final confrontation last week, Dundee. Or anyway, he's out here saying that ain't over. What you gonna do? You gonna do something else? You gonna say something else and let him do something different?
No,
just like you say Austin Idol's gonna be here and now he's not.
Lay off on me, Lawler, about the Austin Idol thing.
They roll into the ring. It was the final official confrontation, but boy, they're going at each other right now. This is not it. I agree with you, Randy. Randy says,
oh, look at him, man. He comes from behind, pulls Dundee by his head. Oh, boy, come on. Totally out of hand, Dave. Totally out of hand and uncalled for.
I'm in shock at what I'm seeing here. Stacy jumps in there. Dundee, I can understand Dundee being upset about what happened last week as Idol nailed him from behind with a chair. But it was advertised as the final confrontation, and Randy says that's what it was.
And Randy is screaming. He's telling us this is not a match.
All right, right out of the gate, I don't want to contradict Dave Brown and call bullshit on something, but Dave Brown on Memphis television is saying he is absolutely shocked at what he's seeing here, that Lawler and Dundee would be fighting each other on television. Dave, come on, Dave.
We opened this up with BT talking about Lawler being a heel. I got to agree with you, BT.
Yeah. This is Jerry Lawler, WWF heel. He brings out the company man, the guy that's leading the way to a brand new generation of professional wrestling on Channel 5, and just talks about him like a dog. I didn't know what he was going to say. Look at his head. He said the blood. I was like, that hair?
Bloodshot eyes.
We always talk about his hair on one of the other, but yeah, the bloodshot eyes. I liked all of this. I
did too.
Well done.
I did too.
By the way, something for Gene, and I know you listen, but the USWA, we've been making fun of the airbrushing. And so
on the back of the jacket.
Yeah, Dundee had his airbrush. Okay, so y'all listen. Bullpain, Samantha airbrush. Dundee ends up with Samantha. Maybe they met at the airbrush place. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, well, I was going to say too, the one thing here, Randy, I believed Randy when he said, Lawler, will you lay off me about this shit? Like when Randy got half hot right there, that's one of the first times you've kind of really seen that, where he's tired of getting fucked with. Come on, let's move on down the road. I love this whole thing, and it's Lawler Dundee, so it's going to be box office regardless. And so I really like it.
I've got something for you, Gene, to think about this. We've always talked about, things about Randy further on into Power Pro. But right here, with Randy Hales coming out on the first show, we've established the character as, the owner-operator kind of thing. But we also are easily getting sympathy on this guy. I'm feeling sorry for Randy out there with Lawler picking on him.
I kind of felt the same way, Gene.
Yeah.
I meant to say this last week. I'm going to say it right here. Seems as good a opportunity as any. So, we're doing this show, we're watching it, we're reviewing it, we're giving our opinions. And when people tell us things for a fact that we're there, we'll relay those.
Right.
But we don't claim to be experts or have any true insight into any of this. So if you want to know Randy Hales' point of view, why he did things, what his story is, there's two ways to get that. You can watch his live streams available on Facebook, or I highly, highly recommend getting his book on Amazon. He's not associated with the show. I'm not shilling because I've got anything to gain from this. I'm telling you, And I've told BT this for years. That is an interesting book. I always tell people, if you're a Memphis fan, you need to read his book. There's a lot of insight on a lot of things, especially Power Pro. You can go to Amazon right now and put Randy Hale's book, and you can get that book.
At one time, if you had the Amazon app, the unlimited, you could read it for free. So
this is something I'll say just to go with that. I know that, Gene, you've gotten a couple messages, and I had one. It was like, how does Randy feel about us doing the show? I can tell you, after the conversations I've had with him, he's not for our show, and he is not against our show. He is, he does not feel that anybody's going to be able to give commentary on Power Pro that wasn't there. So that's kind of where your against is. And his for is, he likes that Power Pro is going to be covered. And like he said, am I going to stop you from doing it? No. But, it's not coming from him. And so he's the authority. And so that's how he feels about it. I don't think he has a feeling. So we have no reason to shill anything for him. We have no reason to put him over at all. But we said one thing that Gene directed. This is a Jackson Media Creation show. Gene directed it and said, we will be 100% honest, but we will be 100% fair. When we started talking about this show, Gene, am I wrong? That's what you said. We had to be 100% fair. You can't just shit on something because you don't like somebody or whatever. So
don't blindly put it over because them folks are probably watching or will be or will hear about it. And so we're so far so good on that.
If you followed my website, if you're one of those guys, and I know there will be guys listening to this that did, that that's not my style. I don't, and unless I'm working for the promotion and let everybody know ahead of time, I'm working for these guys. That's why I'm putting them over. I don't put people over unless I mean it. So, and Gene's like that too. So.
Okay, so I went back and read that portion of Randy's book. I actually had a whole presentation ready here where I'd use this certain software program to call out sections of the book and all that, and we're kind of in a time crunch, so I'm not able to do that. But here's the deal. Austin Idol legit, no shows. Randy does go to the airport. He does wait for him. Austin had spoke to him on the phone, according to Randy, and stated he would be there and he would be flying into Memphis on this flight. And that's the ticket that Randy bought him, and he wasn't there. And then would no longer answer his phone once Randy's at the airport trying to find him. And as of when Randy left the airport, he went to the spot show that Friday night. He then went home and spent all night rewriting the show. Brandon was in town. He said that Brandon came to his hotel room and they sat all night, completely rewrote the show a couple of different times, actually. And then they get to the studio that morning, and I guess they get with Lawler. Now, here's what I believe about that promo. I don't believe when Randy says, hey, why didn't you talk to me about this earlier today? We've seen each other a bunch of times. Because I feel like what you heard Lawler do on TV is exactly what Lawler did to Randy in the dressing room. I told you, Randy, don't book Austin Idol.
Right.
This is what's going to happen. He's done it before. And they decided, like, all right, that's believable. We're trying to use reality, just like that's what we're trying to work into this Kid Wicked promo. So let's go with reality. This motherfucker didn't show up. Let's go call it out, and let's see what would happen from there. Now, what I think is, and what Randy kind of alluded to, yes, Lawler was supposed to be a full-blown babyface because the whole purpose, Randy Hale says, the purpose of bringing Austin Idol in was to be a heel against Lawler in the long run by the time we get to the Mid-South Coliseum show that's not so far off in the distance here. We just hadn't mentioned it on television yet. And so that was the one guy he thought that's a legend, but it could also be a believable heel against Lawler. That's what his purpose was going to be. So I think in Lawler's mind, when he went out to the through the curtain for this promo, that he thought, all right, we're going to have to pivot. I'm going to have to be the heel. I'm going to be a shithead to Randy. I'm going to be a shithead to Dundee. People will side with Dundee. They'll want to see Dundee get his hands on me so bad, they'll forgive this whole final confrontation thing was, not going to work out. Now, if you go read Randy Hales' book right now, Randy's version of events, and I don't know if it's just how he remembers them or how he prefers to tell them, in his version of this promo, he come out and started telling his side, and Lawler's getting pops, and he's getting booed out of the studio. And at the end of this promo, he says the fans were so against him and booed him so much as he was walking away that when they got through the curtain, he told Lawler, I think we know what direction we need to go in now. And Lawler agreed. Now, am I crazy? This has been a loud crowd. Last week's show, they've been a loud
I
crowd.
didn't hear him boo.
You hear him getting booed?
No,
not at all, guys.
Not at all.
No.
So I don't know if that just served the narrative purpose of his book and explaining why they go the direction they're going to go in here. But that's not what I saw here. But I do think I think at the very least, Lawler's intentions was like, all right, I got to be the heel now, because I agree with you guys. He's last week, everybody welcomed Randy Hales like the hero of the world. He saved our Memphis wrestling. He's bringing it back. We love him. And for Lawler to sit here and shit on him like this.
I know. I feel sorry for Randy. That was I got sympathy. I didn't hear no boos.
Yeah, and that reaction I like 100%. I agree with Rob. That whole, dang it, Lawler.
Yeah.
Give me
Cut me some slack, man. Cut me some slack, bro. I'm trying my best.
That was genuine. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you Lawler had dunked on him all morning. He probably did it all night, Friday night. And all morning, sorry, I told you, Randy. I told Austin Idol, what were you thinking? So that's where we're headed here moving forward. And so all I'm going to say is that's how Randy presented it in his book. I won't go any further than that because it'll kind of spoil the overall direction of the company. So now it's time for the main event. Billy Joe Travis comes out. He has another guitar. Apparently he brought more than one with him this week. He's got another one. Brian Christopher comes out there. He's high-fiving the fans. He's, boy, in the late 90s USWA and here in Power Pro, he had those very aggressive high fives that he would give people that would nearly knock some people down. He come in so hot on those high fives. But he comes out, he asks Dave Brown, he pulls the old Jimmy Hart line, except this wasn't the exact word Jimmy Hart would use, but he gave him the old, Dave Brown, who's the sexiest man you know, and why am I? And Dave Brown looked equally as amused as he did when Jimmy Hart used to do that back in the 80s. Not as unamused as he did at the time that Dave Brown was called Dave Brown the Weather Clown by Brian Christopher in 1993. And Dave called him on the air and said, oh, yeah, way to rip off Jimmy Hart. I was like, damn, that was rough. But anyway, that's our main event. We're going to cut to a quick commercial before we start the main event. Brian turns to go around, high fives more fans. Billy Joe blasts him from behind just as we cut to commercial. So then we cut back from commercial. They're in the ring. The match has started. There's a section of this, if you watch the same video feed that we had, where there's no audio during this match. I don't know if that was something that happened at the time because they abruptly cut to a break. When they come back from the break, the audio was on. So at first I thought, well, this is just an issue with the tape of whoever recorded it. But no, I think it was an actual issue with the broadcast is what I thought.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I've got this match, but I don't know. I don't think we really need to show. This is standard. If you ever saw Billy Travis or Brian Christopher work, you've kind of seen what goes on here, right? But the finish was interesting. I wish I did have just the finish. But the only thing about it is, it's not similar to the earlier finish with the Young Guns, but it kind of is. It's a diversionary tactic with Billy using a chain and all that kind of thing. I don't know. What did you guys think about the finish of this match? And BT, maybe when he gets to you, you might can do a better job than I explaining exactly what the hell this finish was. Because I
can.
Yeah, let's have BT explain that finish first.
All right. I love this finish, by the way. I'm going to steal it if I ever book again. So Aubrey takes a big super kick. Looked great. Oh, God, it looked great. Aubrey Wayne takes a super kick. And we're going for the win with Billy Travis going for the win when Bruno jumps in to hit the 1, 2, 3 after Billy uses the chain, but Wayne stops him. So he stops him, and I typed as he stopped him, he's going to call a DQ. Yeah. Well, he don't call a DQ. We ended up with Brian getting the pin and the win, and the crowd went freaking crazy. So instead of doing the old thing with the just the cheap DQ finish, then we get that leading to we're going to do Christopher and Travis next week. We'll talk about that, but I really like the finish. The crowd on Power Pro is one of my favorite crowds so far in this first 2 weeks. They really are enjoying those shows. And just so you know, And Mike Needham can see if they did this on the first two shows. But the shows I always went to, Power Pro, there was always somebody out there getting them ready, getting them fired up, the crowd fired up before the matches started. So I'm not sure if that happened the first 2 weeks. Go ahead.
That may be the difference between the old Memphis days and this one. Yeah, they had somebody working the crowd.
Yeah, they never did that in the old Memphis days. Right.
I like the finish, and I like I really like Brian Christopher. Y'all, I'm a fan. I loved what he did last week with the "Hey, I arrived on Friday. What do you mean we can't?" Hey Dave, I'll wrestle with you. I like Brian Christopher. I like his attitude. Love everything. I love the thing. Now, I'm not a big Billy Joe Travis fan, but and I've always wondered why maybe he didn't go further. I'm not a fan, but he could work, and he and Brian could definitely work well together. So I like the show, like the spot there to get that done and get the end. It kept both of them, strong.
Let me just say this about Billy. Billy was a little smaller than they wanted, and also had his own demons. So as everybody knows, so that kind of kept. We talked about Derek a little bit. And we'll talk about that as we go. Why did Derek go from here to here and not there? Size is one of them, but yeah, there's other reasons too. And I want to talk about that. I've talked to him on the podcast about it too. So, all right, Gene.
I mean, the last time that we saw Billy Joe Travis and Brian Christopher together on the screen was USWA 1997, and Billy was getting arrested on live TV.
Yes.
Right.
Demons, y'all.
Legitimately.
That people thought was a work, but it wasn't. Wasn't it? He had child support issues and other things. Yeah. Okay.
They don't play in Tennessee, Arkansas, or Missouri when it comes to child support. If you're not paying, they come get you.
Let me tell you something. That's legit in Arkansas. I mean, I paid child support in Arkansas for a lot of years, and
Missouri, so they would have came and got my ass. So
it was luckily, the mother and I were not contentious, and there was no problems. But the mother gets mad at you, or the custodial parent gets mad at you and calls the state of Arkansas and says they're not paying my child support. They're going to come to your house, just arrest you right there at the house, take you down to jail until you can pay it.
If you're in Missouri, if you're 10, I think, or 15 days behind, and if that spouse calls, they come get you too.
Well, with what they were being paid, there's no way he could have paid his child support, right?
Right. There's no telling what that support was. Hell, I had a tough time paying mine.
Look at me being the only one on screen that's never had to pay child support. Woo!
Smartest guy in the room right there.
That's right.
He said smartest guy in the room, and I fucked you on it. So there
So anyway, that was it was a fun finish. We didn't point out until just now when Brian mentioned it, but yeah, Downtown Bruno was our other referee today.
Love that. Seeing Downtown Bruno and Brandon Baxter kind of show up at the same time was a marked out moment for me. So
yeah.
What about that? What is that shirt you got on, Gene? Same thing you wore last week. You just wear that shirt every week.
Try to sell. Same thing. Hey. I got a WWE shop cheap shirt.
Nice. Well, I'm wearing a Life is Good shirt, but I want you to know that I ordered I went on the store. I got my Retro Wrestling Review Power Pro Wrestling podcast shirt, except I got mine in the heather gray, and it will be here next week, premiering on the show next week.
Man, y'all
everybody go get a shirt
one now. So I have to order my own.
You can't show up in a WWE shirt next week, BT. And so after the match, Brian's doing a promo. Billy Travis comes out from nowhere, cracks a guitar over Brian that looked just as ugly as the one he gave Spellbinder earlier in the show. Yep. So if nothing else, in episode 2 of Power Pro Wrestling, we have established Billy Joe Travis will bust you upside the head with a guitar if given half the chance. So
you've got the Jeff. You all remember talking about your Jeff Jarrett chair shots on other shows. Y'all would talk about Jeff. So we have the Billy Joe Travis throws the guitar shots that are equivalent to Jeff Jarrett's chair shots.
There you go. I agree.
That's right. And so then they let us know. Dave said that. Brian challenged Billy Joe Travis to a stretcher match next week. Dave says we're going to have to clear that with Randy Hales. Randy Hales just cleared it. Next week, stretcher match. He was in his ear, which is believable because I'm sure Randy was up in the booth. And not only Our next week's show, our main event's going to be Brian Christopher versus Billy Joe Travis in a stretcher match. Handsome Jimmy Valiant.
Mercy, Daddy, mercy.
Making his return in 1998. What is he going to be like? What, 72 or something here?
That's
Rob?
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Hey, you can't count that one, Rob.
I know, but guy, I'm still at the count of one. But Jesus bells, I can't fucking get away from the guy.
If you don't watch the other show, recently, me and
The
Rob,
USWA.
the USWA 1991 show. Me and Rob recently came under fire for our controversial take on Jimmy Valiant. And so I find it completely hilarious and ironic that the very following week, here he is getting ready to show up on Power Pro.
I went back in a time machine just to fuck with y'all. And I talked to Randy. I said, please book Jimmy Valiant for the third
you and Randy
show.
are like this.
We're just like this. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So I feel like Josh is going to be invited next week by BT to even the odds here. So it's a fair debate. He'll have some backup when Handsome Jimmy comes in.
My defense always going to be from this point on when y'all say, why do you like this guy instead of that guy? I'm going to say, because I do. And that's my defense no matter what.
I got to tell you, I've got an idea now. Gene and I are going to wind up in an airport together, and I think just to walk up to him, I'm just going to give him the big Jimmy Valiant kiss just right there. We're just going to do it right in the airport, baby.
Videotape that and send it to me ASAP. No.
Yeah, I was going to say Brian's going to need that video and some alone time. But
here's the female fantasy.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say who I'm sponsored by.
The female fantasy. So BT, we're going to pitch it to you. This is where you ask the questions at the end of the episode.
Okay, let me do real quick. We're gonna what's happening is gonna be kind of like the general at the end because I'm just gonna go over what's happening. But my hit. How about that? The hit for the week for me was the Lawler stuff with Randy Hales. I had sympathy for Randy, and I thought Lawler came out as a heel. My miss, as much as I like Kid Wicked, I really did not like that. Did not like that promo at all. MVP, I'm going to give it to Kid Wicked, DK, and Baxter for that win and that finish there. Ever who came up with that. OMG, man, I don't know. I think maybe the super kick that Aubrey Wayne took, I popped for that big time. And must see, I'm going to go with the Young Guns match again. Fun match. And you're seeing young guys being put over in a fun finish. So there we go. There's my stuff. How about y'all? How about who's going first? Rob, you go first?
We'll let Rob go.
All right, hit. Rob, what's your big hit?
Billy Joe Travis chair shot number 1.
Woo.
Guitar shot.
Excuse me, guitar shot. I don't know why I said chair shot. Same thing. We were just talking about Jared. Billy Joe Travis chair shot number 1 on Spellbinder.
There you go. What about miss?
Kid Wicked interview.
Yeah, go with that too. What about MVP for the day?
I need Corey McLean to say it because I can't say his name the right way, but Brian Christopher. So who is it, Gene?
Brian Christopher in there.
That was my MVP.
What about an OMG moment?
Billy Joe Travis guitar shot number 2.
And what about your must see? What are you going to tell people they're going to watch off this show?
The Hales Lawler interview.
Good. What about you, Gene? Hit.
Yeah, the Hales Lawler interview because it sets the table for a lot moving forward.
Right.
It's going to be something that will be referred back to many, many times.
All right. What about your miss for the show?
I try to not repeat the same thing you guys do, but I'm sorry that, again, I'm a big fan of Tony Williams, Kid Wicked, but no, that don't work for me, brother.
Yeah, I agree. What about MVP?
MVP of the whole show, I would say
ridiculous.
You can't pick Corey every week.
Not every week. I was trying to think of somebody else, but damn it. Yeah, Corey Macklin, dude.
What about OMG? What's your OMG moment?
that chair, damn it, they got me doing it. The guitar shot to the Spellbinder, man. I thought that like Spellbinder must have owed him money or something. Like, good Lord, I would give anything if there was like Power Pro Unreal, the camera back behind the curtain, like, hey brother, what kind of stiff with that guitar, brother? Like, what are you doing? Billy Joe's like, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. Then he does Brian the exact same way 30 minutes later.
And must see. What are you going to tell people to watch?
Must see. Well, I'm gonna have a duplicate answer, I guess. That again, the Randy Hales and Lawler promo there, because like I said, it sets the stage for a lot, and then you got the little Dundee Lawler skirmish there at the end. You got Stacy pulling Dundee across the ring by his mullet to the point that she falls over. Her skirt almost flies up over her head.
I wish she'd pull my mullet, if you know what I mean.
She looked pretty uncomfortable when she was sitting there too. She was trying to get back in a position to figure out where cameras were of who's seeing up her skirt or up her dress, because you can see her just doing it. It's like she's very uncomfortable.
She's like, "Where's the camera? I want to point it."
Yeah,
right
me too. That made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, Dundee called her a bimbo in the promo out there, and Lawler didn't even seem the least bit offended or mad about it. Like,
he said, "Sure."
You watch them USWA 91 and when Eric Embry would call Dirty White Girl a bimbo, like you would immediately see Dirty White Boy's face fire up and, you better shut your mouth. He said it, Lawler's face never changed. He's like, yeah, I know what I got.
What else must see? You said you had two things.
Oh no, I'm saying I'm using that for two different.
Oh, okay. And we end up with what's happening next week. We're looking at Randy has confirmed Brian Christopher against Billy Joe Travis, and next week in a stretcher match, and the rival of handsome Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man,
Mercy Daddy.
That's what's happening.
Who's getting kissed? Don't you kiss me, I hear you, dirty old man. You kiss Dave over there, and Dave's like, you better get the fuck away from me, dude.
Don't mess with the hair, man.
No, here quickly at the end, I want to ask you guys, like, you know, we talked about last week that Austin Idol seemed to be the biggest name. Well, Rob disagreed. He said Dutch Mantel, and we kind of shit on that. Then we beat TV. Anyway, but we all was in agreement that it was a big deal for Austin Idol to be here. He's a guy that fans in Memphis hadn't seen in a while. He probably felt, we didn't talk about this, but I'll say it retroactively. If I'm Randy Hales and I'm trying to build towards a big return card at the Mid-South Coliseum, he's a guy I'm going to want on that card. Lawler and Idol in 1998 even is sounds like a big deal. Before you're getting WWF guys sent down here to you besides Lawler and Brian Christopher. How disappointing is it for you guys? Because I know we didn't talk about it last week. We didn't spoil it. I don't know. Rob didn't know, and BT probably didn't remember. How disappointing was it when y'all watched this and realized second week Austin Idol's already no-show?
He's not. He's untrustable, man. He's untrustable. You can't trust the guy. A lot of people were already smart to that in 98 too.
Yeah.
A lot of people around the business were already smart to that, I bet. I, of course, was not. So I'm watching this as non-smart. I'm thinking, oh, there it is. Yeah, he's just not there. They're having to cover for it.
You know, the thing about it is one of the very few things I remember about the first few weeks of Power Pro was that we had the no-show of Austin Idol, you know. Because
Are you shocked?
No, I wasn't shocked, but like I said last week, after going back and watching so much old USWA Memphis wrestling, Idol wasn't in the studio a lot. For him to be in the studio was a big deal. Why did we expect, like Lawler said, why do we expect for Austin Idol to show up 2 weeks in a row in the studio? So there we go. Yeah, I remember that. And as soon as Dundee comes out for the first match, you're thinking to yourself, wait, y'all just promoted. But, you know, you got to go with the flow and do something new. So they're doing something new. So,
well, Gene,
as I once heard a certain wrestler say in the dressing room to everybody, there's a few things you can count on. Water's wet, the sky is blue, and Austin Idol's probably going to no-show. So.
Well, on that note, Gene, take us out of here.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the Retro Wrestling Review Power Pro Wrestling Podcast. If if you're enjoying this, let us know, man. Follow us on the Retro Wrestling Review Podcast Facebook page. We're going to be getting a group going here pretty soon that everybody can kind of get in, because we want to hear, you get to hear what we thought about the show and what our hits and misses and OMG moments. We want to hear yours. So we're going to set up where you guys can come in, tell us your thoughts, and kind of follow along this whole thing with us. So we hope that you'll do that. We're excited, and we hope you're all excited too. And you seem to be, based on the numbers. So that is really awesome. So before we officially walk out the door, is there anybody here, anywhere, who has any final words?
I just want to say that I need some folks backing me up other than Gene on this Jimmy Valiant thing. Because I feel like Josh and BT are gonna somehow get the heat on Gene. They're gonna throw Gene out of the ring, and I'm gonna be left by my little lonesome ass here. And I need somebody. I need somebody that's gonna have my back. So that's really what I need. And I guarantee you that BT's got something to say. BT,
I do. One thing first, though, I'm going to try my best to get everybody into the omelet phase of eggs. So that's what I'm going to do with my debate. And by the way, guys,
Random Man,
if you have followed me for almost 10 years, no matter what podcast I'm on, I love my mama.
In there.